Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video. This time we are going to be making a pistol crossbow from scratch, pretty much. So yeah, let's get started. We don't have the stock yet, we don't have that together yet, and we don't have the trigger assembly together yet, but we do have the stuff we'll use for the limbs. So we'll work on making the limbs and getting that done. Then we'll get the stock and maybe some of the other stuff. So we're going to be using some leaf spring for our limbs. So we got a couple other ones. We got this one is a 2-foot one. Got another two more that are pretty long. So we're gonna make our limb probably about 16.5 inches. So we're gonna cut out this little section right here that's outlined already for a limb. That's how wide it will be. But then since this thing is pretty thick, we need to grind it down or cut it or something and get our limb so it's pretty bendy. So we'll see if that works. We'll probably just use one limb instead of doing double, just because, you know, this thing is pretty thick already, so we can get it down to the right thickness and it should be just fine. So what we're gonna be working on is cutting this thing out and maybe grinding it down. So let's get to it. Anyway guys, just a quick update here. So I've been cutting for a little while and I got about that much done. So I got that side cut off. I got it cut all the way over there, but that's it. Got all that to do yet. So yeah, we'll keep working at it. I haven't done before too long. This thing is battery operated, so that's what makes it take longer. But yeah, we should have done before too. Alright guys, so we've got the limb cut out now. We got this here as our main limb. It's about that wide. So we got this mark right here on top where we're going to cut grooves in it, kind of like that. And then go in there and just grind it down to make it, basically so that way it's easier to grind down. We don't have to grind down a whole big section all at once. So I'll probably work on this end here and work on cutting it back all the way back to about this mark here. And grind that down. We'll grind this middle part down, but not as much as the limbs. So I'll work on this side for now. I might actually go across. Anyway, let's get started. So yeah, I'll start chipping and we'll start cutting. Alrighty, so now I got these cuts made. Had some technical difficulties with that thing, getting that thing on, but anyway, got it on now. Got these cuts on here, so now I'm gonna go and start grinding them. Alrighty guys, so we have got this ground down, pretty thin. We got it all done now. It's about that thin there. So the next step is going to be, well, this here, the way it is now, it's still not thin enough to be flexible enough. I mean, it's maybe slightly flexible, but not enough for a good bow. It needs to be quite a bit thinner. So we are going to work on, I'm going to put thin cuts in here. I'll put cuts in here, but we won't do it that deep. So that way we don't cut it in half. Of course, you don't want to do that. So we'll just do fairly shallow. Now we'll just go through and grind it all down again and see how that is. So that's going to be the next step. Alrighty guys, so we have got the cuts made right in here on both sides, as well as over here. There may be some of them are made a little bit deep, as you can see there. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and work on grinding it down and try not to grind it down too far and mess it up. So hopefully that'll work out okay. The center I won't grind down much at all, just to keep that a little bit thicker. So yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and get going and get that ground down. Alrighty guys, so we are almost done with this thing here. As you can see, we got this side here, it's pretty thin there. And this side here is just a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna work on grinding down. Or maybe it's the other side, I'm not sure, but it's one of these sides is a bit thicker. It needs to be ground down just a bit. So I'm gonna work on that and get both sides even so it bends evenly, and then we'll be done. Alrighty guys, so we're going to stop grinding it down for now because it's pretty thin. We got it about as thin as we need it right there, as you can see. And it's pretty bendy, you know. So I'm not going to do it anymore. So what we need to do now is we need to polish it with a polishing wheel. So we're going to go ahead and use this polishing wheel and polish it. And make it nice because it'll grind it down some too. So. Alrighty guys, so we're at the next stage here. So we have this thing pretty much, we have it polished right here. And as you can see, it's pretty bendy, but it needs to be just a little bit more flexible for it to be good to go. And it's fairly thin, but this top part needs to be thinned down just a little bit more. And then this side right here is thin enough, but then the bottom side on this side needs to be thinned down. So basically we're just going to use a use the angle grind again, but we'll use a polishing wheel instead of the grinder wheel because we don't want to take too much off at this point. We're going to be very careful how much we take off so we don't like grind it all the way through or something. And we want to keep it nice and polished as well when we do it. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. Getting that done. We're almost done with this limb. The next part will be probably getting the trigger assembly together and the stock. So hopefully we can get this limb finished up here soon and move on to the next part. Alrighty guys, so we have got our limb here pretty much done the way we want it. It's pretty thin, as you can see there. I'd say it's probably good to go. It's fairly flexible, but I mean, it could be more flexible, but it's, you know, should be good enough hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't like, hopefully it springs back enough and doesn't just like get stuck when you bend it. I did not get this trigger assembly made. My dad helped me with it. I'll put a link to the video that we followed or used to make this trigger assembly. I'll put that in the description. But yeah, bowstring's putting pressure on this lock nut. let's demonstrate. So the string's pulling really hard on this thing right here. You pull the trigger, boom, goes the string. But then to get it back, you have to like put it back in position and then put the trigger back like that. So then before you can move the trigger back, you have to move this thing back. Alrighty guys, so we made a little bit more progress on our bow. Fortunately, I did not get it on a video, did not make it, but anyway, here's the almost finished product. So basically, for this oak here, we stained it with a nice dark stain, so it's nice and dark. Painted the limbs black, obviously. Paint the top part of the trigger black, and this thing to hold the arrow in black. And we didn't paint the trigger, but we'll get a string on here a little bit later. We don't have it on yet, but we'll get it on later. Hopefully I can get that. One problem we are running into though is these here are the arrows that I got. So they're little 6.3-inch arrows. I mean, they should work really good. They're about 10 grams or so. But the thing is, I think I made my notch. I don't know if you can see my notch right in here. I think I made it too deep for the arrow. So in other words, if you stick the arrow in here and stick it underneath this thing here, like that. So basically, if I got my arrow in there underneath this thing, it's barely going to be able to, the string's barely going to be able to catch it. You can see that right there. It's just barely peeking up right there, which means that the string is barely going to be able to catch that. So like if I'm pulling the trigger here, string's on here, and boom, goes down like that, it'll barely catch it. So I think what we need to do yet is sand down the top right here and right here on this side. Sand that down so it's down just a little bit farther and allows the arrow to stick up a little bit farther so the string can catch it. Doesn't need to be much, just needs to be a little bit, just enough so the string can catch the arrow for sure, because otherwise it will probably just skim over top and won't shoot it right. So we need to do that yet, but otherwise I think it's about good to go. So I'll see if we can maybe get a video of that, or at least give you an update once that's done and it's good to go. So yeah. Well, anyway guys, so we actually got the bow problem fixed. We have our nice little groove in here. It's just the right depth for the arrow. We put wood filler in there and got the arrow mold in there, so it works just fine. Everything else is good to go, so let's go ahead and see how it shoots.